Good morning, grinders. Hey, it's the DFS pregame show with me, Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blenderhead, a.k.a. Blender HD, whatever you want to call me. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm on top of you in the contest in the lobby, I care less. I couldn't care less what you call me. But I'm here for the end of the week Friday with some of the 10-game slate that everyone's injured. So I don't know what we're going to go over. Play whoever you want, I guess, at this point. I don't know who's playing. They might as well. I mean, look. I mean, I pulled up the Situation Room premium thing on RotoGrinders if you want to get it, and it's just keeps on scrolling. I don't know what's going on. Everyone's out today, so there's going to be tons of value, and then value that doesn't hit. So we don't know what the hell's going on. But what we normally do on the DFS pregame show is not only talk about today's slate, but it's very beneficial to study what happened yesterday, the past slates. You can only learn from your past. This is what I do every day. I look at the contests and the slate from yesterday, see what the good players did, the top players, not necessarily the winning who won yesterday, and see where they took advantage of ownership, leverage, constructions, everything like that. And so I could apply those strategies and see did even if I didn't personally apply that strategy, see if it's something that I could have considered or something I didn't take into account, or you never know. You never know what's gonna happen, especially in today's 10-game slate. I don't know what I'm going to talk about for today's slate. Like by 5:30, like everything changes. I know I complain about this every day. But, I mean, today, with 10 games, 20 teams, and it seems like half the league is questionable, right, or doubtful or probable, something, who knows? And then load management, someone will sit, and everything will change. So that's why you got to have premium. RotoGrinders.com/premium, and then you get it, and then you get all the projections, and everything changes throughout the day. You get the Discord. You get everything. Join me. And we have people joining me in the chat, YouTube chat, as always with this show. Feel free to post your questions in the YouTube chat. Strategy questions primarily. This is not necessarily for cash games, for GPPs, and not necessarily for player picks, especially today. Who knows what's happening, right? We know some people are out and in, but by 5:30, everything changes. So who knows what players are going to pick today. So in the YouTube chat, we got Jose Flores is in there, PC Vials, the Daily Fantasy Sweat. Yeah, I got the apple juice. Yeah, now I'm getting the apple juice back on board because people were respecting the coffee now. Now people are asking about the apple juice. I do. Got the apple juice. And in order to keep this cold, right, keep my apple juice cold, because warm apple juice kind of tastes like urine a little, right? You don't want that. So if you want to keep the apple juice cold, you hit the thumbs up button. A little thumbs up. I don't think the thumb moves over there, but you hit the like button, right? Do you like this show? Hit the like button to show that you like this show. And if you don't like the show, why are you watching? I have no idea. Heat Nation 7's here. Hey, Blender. Yeah, I see you guys. You guys are here. Last night was awful. Well, if you played the chalk last night, it probably wasn't good, right? I mean, like there wasn't like heavy chalk, I guess. I mean, it's not like anyone did absurdly well. I mean, we got Norman Powell, we got Lowry, we got Kawhi was okay. Toby Harris went well. But like Harden was 48% owned across the contests. And no, Westbrook was the play yesterday. It was Harden, Westbrook. Nope, it was a Westbrook day. And then Mike Scott got there, right? 25 points for 3,800. It wasn't bad. Paul George, he was chalky, even though I didn't necessarily think he was the greatest of plays at 7,400. Just it wasn't really. He hasn't been getting the usage or anything. And then Millsap, he pretty much dudded. I mean, 19.5 is okay, I guess, for 4,600, but like he's not going to win you a GPP pretty much. PJ Tucker was PJ Tucker. What did people expect out of PJ Tucker? Even Patrick Beverly, like for 3,600, he got 17 points, but didn't really get you much, right? Graham did okay for his price because he was under 6K. Cody Zeller, I guess 22. I mean, nothing really stood out. Like Jokic, he didn't perform up to value. Horford didn't really 37, I guess. right? A lot of middling scores yesterday, but you just had to have the right pieces, right? One of the key right pieces was Ibaka. I mean, we say that this is why I bring these up, right? So I bring up the what is it? The 222, the $12 shoot around, and the $4 4-point play, and just see the difference between the stakes, because it's always so dramatic. It's always so dramatic because we got that late news that Gasol was going to be out, Van Vliet was out, and Ibaka will play. So Ibaka's going to play and not have a minutes limit or anything like that. I mean, look at the difference here. In the Slam Jam, 22%. The $12 shoot around, he was 10%, and in the 4-point play, he was 6%. Look at that dramatic difference between higher stakes and lower stakes players. And we always go under the assumption that the higher stakes players are more of the sharper players. There's probably bad players that play in the high stakes also, but not as many. And there's more good players that play in the high stakes, and the low stakes maybe not so much. So the difference was fairly dramatic. Even if you take a look at someone like Devontae Graham, which we got news before lock that he was playing, right? And if he was playing, he was pretty much underpriced on DraftKings at 5,800. So we could see there that, in the higher stakes, 36%, lower stakes, 20%. Because did people want to play a guy that's questionable and whatever? They made their lineups before, 6 o'clock Eastern, before we knew that he was playing, and they just said, screw it, I'm not going to change my lineups. But that's why I look through all of this. I mean, if we look through a guy like Norman Powell, Norman Powell got across the board. I mean, because we knew he was playing, and he was going to play regardless if Van Vliet was going to be in, so I don't think that mattered much. Save for Rozier, not much of a difference here. A lot of people played Shake Milton in the lower stakes and not so much in the higher stakes. I mean, I think out of the starting lineup for the Sixers, I think Milton on DraftKings at least. I'm not saying anything about FanDuel where he was underpriced, but on DraftKings, I thought he was 6,500. I guess. I mean, he's Shake Milton for crying out loud. So I was much more inclined yesterday to play Tobias Harris. Obviously, because with all the guys out for the Sixers. He was going to put up, 25 plus shots no matter what. But also because the small forward position yesterday was just weak, right? If you didn't play Tobias Harris, you were playing Paul George, right? So I was more on Harris over George. But, I mean, I understand it. I mean, the small forward position was a weak position. That's why we saw some House ownership. We saw some Eric Gordon ownership. And Powell in that spot. Korkmaz in that spot, right? It was a fairly weak position overall. So, like yesterday, I was saying that on the morning grind, if you listen to it, I was more likely to use small forward to just get raw points rather than try to find value. But I mean, the scores were lower yesterday, but I mean, for the most part, because not many people broke the slate. I mean, it was more about lineup construction. Like Marquise Chris, yes, he got 45 points, but I mean, he was only 5% owned. Steph Curry came back, right? Steph Curry came back. He put up 42 points for 8,000. That's just over 5x. But I mean, in the general context of the slate, that was fine. I mean, because we take a look at like Millsap busted pretty. I mean, a lot of the chalk underperformed. I don't want to call them busted, but Harden busted. Yeah, if 30 points at over 10K, yeah, that's a bust. But for the most part, I mean, you could 19.5 for Millsap, isn't like the worst thing in the world when in comparison to the rest of these scores, right? Because Covington only put up 21, right? Barton put up 28 for about in the mid 5K. It's nothing to write home about, right? That's what I'm looking at. Siakam, he didn't really perform well. Lowry did okay, right? Harold did fine, but I mean, predicting those Harold games, you're never going to know. So just looking here, Heald and Barnes, they did fine for their prices. So just a matter of what construction. A lot of people, if we take a look at Toscano Anderson, who got the start, like in higher stakes, he was 4%. In lower stakes, he was 1.8%. I mean, I say this every show. Take advantage of late news more the lower the stakes that you go down. If you're playing in the lower stakes, be more inclined to go, instead of saying, I'm going to take even with the field. I'm like, okay, I'll take 10% of them. It's like, no, be more inclined to take 20, 30% of them. Play them in more constructions because you're going to get more leverage. You're going to get more relative value by playing them in the lower stakes, which means you could play chalkier lineups. That's the reason I pointed out, because leverage is in the eye of the beholder. I think that's what they say. So if we take a look here at Ibaka between these contests, right? If you played Ibaka in the lower stakes, you got more leverage, right? Because only 6% of the field has him, as opposed to the Slam Jam, where 22% of the field had. So by playing Ibaka in the lower stakes, that means you get extra leverage, which means you don't need as much in the rest of your lineup. This is the reason why I promote this in the lower stakes on late news, taking advantage of it more, because it just means that you could play the chalkier guy. I mean, I'm not saying that Harden, if you would have played Harden, you would have gotten there because he only got 30 points last night. But lineups with Ibaka in it were leveraged as it was, as opposed to in the higher stakes where by playing Ibaka plus the chalk didn't get you anywhere, right? It just wasn't enough leverage. So that's why I like pointing this out. Okay, so people in the chat, Wallstra says, I need to stop the hand-building lineups. Too much feelings go into it and cost you money. Well, you can still hand-build. I hand-build for 2 years before using any type of optimizer. I used to build 3-5 lineups, and then I built 10 lineups by hand. I would even build 20 lineups by hand, and then you learn how to use the tools to kind of scale that up. So it's not about hand-building or not hand-building. It's about getting good at building lineups, at making quality constructions for the contest that you're playing. Okay, so thinking in terms of breaking down position by position, salary range by salary range, being able to analyze and go, oh, small forward is a weak position today. Should I pay up for raw points? If I do pay up for raw points and I'm playing Paul George, I'm not getting leverage. How do I find leverage elsewhere? If I'm playing George, Harden, Scott, I got to find a contrarian way somewhere else. But let's say I don't play Harden, and let's say I don't play Westbrook, and let's say I'm just going, George, Graham, Tobias Harris, Ibaka, some balance build down the middle. I may have enough leverage doing it that way. So you can still hand build. Like, it's not a difference of hand building or using a lineup builder or something like that. It's a matter of learning how to build quality plus EV constructions for the contest that you're in. Like I say on many shows. Like, it's about lineups, not about players, right? You can play anyone. If that's the first person in your lineup, there's a reason to literally play anyone. You could have played Damian Lee. I mean, he did well, right? You could have played Alex Len last night. You could have, right? I'm not saying that was a good idea, but once you place Alex Len in the lineup, then now you have choices to make in the rest of your lineup. And a 4% Alex Len at center means you're paying down at center. You could pay up at power forward or something like that. And then you also have, you already got leverage in your center spot. So it changes the decisions that you're going to make in the rest of your lineup. You could do that. You could do that when you're hand building, right? Because you're doing it one by one. If you're using the builder, it's more like you have to kind of make all those decisions all at once and then let the builder build. Okay, let's take a look at yesterday. How some of the top players, right? I pulled up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so, right? What happened? So I'm gonna sort by field percentage. So I mean, for the most part, I mean, a lot of the chalkier options. I mean, a lot of the top players played. I mean, it's basketball and it's a 4-game slate. So more likely not. I mean, look, like Devontae Graham, for the most part, everyone played. Royal Payne didn't, played 0. Played 100% Cody Zeller though. See, this is what I like showing on these screens, because when people ask, like, for the plays, who do I play today? Well, these are all good players, and they all play different players, right? They're different strategies. So you could say, oh, yesterday, did you have to play Mike Scott? Well, Chipotle Addict, he played a ton of them. I mean, Scar Patrol paid over. Royal Payne, overweight. But then you take a look, and Petty Theft and Tyrannosaurus Flex played nothing. 150 lineups, no Mike Scott. If you would have asked them, is Mike Scott a bad play? They wouldn't say he's a bad play, but could end up being overowned for his upside. So for 34% ownership, I mean, Mike Scott, he kind of got there, 25 points. But, they were relying more on the fact that Mike Scott putting up a 15-point game, meaning they got a lot of leverage by playing 0 of them, with him being in third of the lineups. I mean, take a look at James Harden. I mean, James Harden is 44% owned, put up 30 points. I mean, mostly everyone had him to some extent. Royal Payne went over the field, but like ending went under. I mean, why wouldn't? Same for Westbrook, right? You see all of this? Yeah. Rhinoceros Flex and Great Poupon, they had a little of him. But still, for the most part, the good players are the good players. They're still going to appear in lineups. But like taking a look at someone like Patrick Beverley, who's a cheap guard starting, he was 28% owned. I mean, like everyone had him to some extent, right? Look at Jokic, 25% owned. A lot of players, a lot of the players in the shoot around went under on Jokic yesterday, right? Even though great spot against the Hornets, right? Even if, where's Millsap? Millsap here. I mean, look, Royal Payne is 100%, ending 77%, so people have them. Chipotle Addict decided to say, no, screw it. Like a couple of lineups, maybe at most, right? 1%. That's what? 2 lineups I think he was in, right? So no Millsap, no Jokic, right? Who did he have? Right, he had all the Ibaka, Powell, Korkmaz, right, down over here. Okay, some Marquise Chris, some Toscano Anderson, some Damian Lee, right? Chipotle Addict won yesterday in this contest. But where did they find the leverage? Because yesterday on a 4-game slate, like if you pay up for Jokic, like it limits your construction. So like Jokic constructions were tough. Like it's very hard. Jokic, Westbrook, or Jokic Harden type of constructions. Well, like you had to play Scott, you had to play Millsap, you had to play Beverly. Like you had to, like that was the chalk construction. What's the easiest way to get off the chalk construction? By just not paying up at center. Right? By not paying up for Jokic. Even if you're playing Ibaka, that's not paying up all the way. Jokic was what, like 9,500 yesterday? So it limits your construction. And I think a lot of the sharper players noticed that it's much easier to get contrarian by not paying up at center. Because even if you did it into the builder without knowing it, you would see most of your Jokic lineups have a lot of the cheap chalk in it. And then you look at this and you go, how do I beat such a large field contest with so much chalk in my lineup without just taking a shot at some like weird guy, right? Just a Raul Neto or something like that for no apparent reason. It's very hard, especially on a 4-game slate. Dominic Moreno asks, does anyone still read the articles or do we just play the optimal? I mean, that's cash games. I don't care about cash games on this show. This is for GPPs. Cash games, why? You build your best median lineup and be done with it, right? Just be done with it. Who did ending pay up for? You take a look at ending. Devontae Graham, Murray, Powell, Ibaka, Siakam. You had a lot of Siakam. Siakam, Lowry, Fox. So more just balanced. Didn't pay up for anyone. What, Lowry, Siakam? I mean, they did 8,600, 9,100. Kind of went that route. Like not much Westbrook, not much Harden, not much George. How about Kawhi? Yeah, 41% Kawhi. So I mean, he still had 50% Beverly. I mean, he still had these players. Didn't have enough Toby Harris, apparently. A little bit more balanced, but he still had Jokic, right? So much more balanced. He played like mid-range guards. I mean, with Patrick Beverly. So Murray, Fox, Powell, Lowry. Played Siakam at power forward a bunch instead of a lot of Mike Scott, right? So that's what he kind of did. She, I don't know. It could be anyone. Okay. But I mean, we see good players making different decisions. They're not all wrong and they're not all right. There's no right or wrong answers. It's how do I get leverage? How do I build contrarian constructions? They all choose different ways, right? I think the main thing from last night is that take advantage of it was the Raptors news. Because look, we got Powell. Look at all the Ibaka across all these players that I brought up. I know 2 of them didn't. I mean, look, Great Poupon didn't. But for the most part, Ibaka was 10% owned. Put up 37. It's like nothing to write home about. But in the context of the slate, he did get there. That was enough points for his price. But look how many. Like when Ibaka was ruled in, Gasol out and Van Vliet out, it's just like jam in Ibaka. Get as much Powell. He was 14% owned. Put up 50 points. Taking advantage of that. Now, I mean, you could take advantage of that and then they do badly. Okay? But the whole thing is that you're making decisions based on ownership, not on like what happened in the game. Right? You knew that they were going to be lower owned because of the late news. So jam them. Not 100%. I mean, you could. And then if they don't work out, they don't work out. But I mean, it's a plus EV play at these ownership. If Ibaka and Powell, if we knew all that information at 2:00 in the afternoon, the ownership would have been double this on each of them. So take advantage of that on a 4-game slate. I keep on pressing that. That's why I show you this is what the good players do. The good players play the chalk. You don't see them. I mean, some of them take heavy stances on like one player here or there. But for the most part, they're playing chalk and then finding 1 or 2 spots for leverage in every lineup that they make for 150 lineups. So if you're making 5, make 5 like that, but they're making 150 like that. And then sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes you play 100% Cody Zeller and it doesn't happen. It doesn't work, right? Sometimes you play PJ Tucker. Sometimes you play half your lineups with PJ Tucker and go, whoops, those lineups aren't going to win a GPP today. Mike Scott. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going to go all in. Sometimes you're like, I'm going to go all out. Perfectly fine. Because like Petty Theft, what did he do with power forward? Well, he still had Millsap. Tyrannosaurus Rex, who had Mike Scott. No Mike Scott. What did he do at power forward? Well, he didn't have that much Millsap. He had a lot of Harris, who fits look, Toby Harris for Petty Theft. Okay, let's look at other power forwards. Al Horford. So there you go. Here. Well, that's Great Poupon. Still some Al Horford. Daniel House. Yeah, Daniel House. Here, 39%, 25%. Similar price range, Daniel House. So instead of Mike Scott, these guys that faded Mike Scott played a lot more Daniel House. Any other power forwards that we see? Not really. Not really down here. Miles Bridges a little, I guess. Marcus Morris. Okay, there you go. Marcus Morris. Damian Lee is not a power forward, but Dragon Bender. Yeah, here's a Dragon Bender right here. So, like, if you didn't play Scott at power forward, okay, Bender, I see. Toscano Anderson. Daniel House, right? I get it. And fading chalk Mike Scott, because chalk Mike Scott is typically not good, right? We don't like playing Mike Scott, but he got there. Okay. Remember, hit the like button. Keep my apple juice cold, or your coffee warm, or Devin. Maybe Devin I think Devin drinks iced coffee, so maybe you're keeping his coffee cold. Is ice cubes cold? I have no idea. Typically, when the coffee's in the plastic containers, that means it's. See, yeah, he's showing it to me. That's iced coffee, right? That's iced coffee, right? Because it's in the like hot. Why don't they put hot coffee in the plastic containers? There has to be a reason, right? Oh, because the heat goes through and it burns your hands, I guess. Anchor asks, what's your mindset on a high-end single entry with roughly 700 to 1,000 people? GPPs work the same no matter what. The size of the contest determines how much leverage you need. That's it. There's no difference when you're playing GPPs. So if you're playing single entry with 700 to 1,000 people, you don't need as much leverage as you're playing a $12 contest with 30,000 entries. So you don't have to get nuts. You don't have to get nutso, stupid, contrarian. You can play a lot of chalk. You still have to find leverage somewhere. You still have to be different somehow, but not as much. You don't necessarily have to go crazy. Also realize that in the smaller field single entry contest, the ownership will be more condensed. I mean, I'll bring it up right here. So let's say we have a single entry here. No, we don't have. Let's go back. Let's see. Let's see if I can find. Let's reload. Maybe they reloaded these contests. Okay, now we got some. Okay, so let's go to a single entry contest, for instance. Like let's see, what's a good one? Like the pick and roll? No, that's 3,000 entries. Let's go with the $40 single entry, the mid-range jumper. Okay. So I'm going to go over here. I'm doing this in real time. The mid-range jumper. I'm going to compare it to the large field tournament. Okay. So the shoot around is here, and then the mid-range jumper is the $40 single entry. Okay. So we're going to compare the ownership differences. This is the single entry contest that you talk about, right? That 700 to 1,000 people. Harden in the large field GPP was 44% owned, 59% owned in the single entry $40. I mean, look at the disparities. Mike Scott, 33 in the large field, 54 in the single entry. We take a look right down the board. The the chalkiest plays in the large field are even chalkier. Patrick Beverley was 28% in the large field, 40% in the $40 single entry. PJ Tucker was 30% in the single. I mean, all this means is that there's more available leverage. And I know what I said before that, in smaller field, single entry, you don't need as much leverage. The difference in how condensed the ownership is just determines in where you get the leverage, not how much you need. So if you take a look at the single entry $40 tournament here, being that the ownership tends to get more condensed, it doesn't mean you have to take advantage of all of it. That's not what I'm saying. It's easier to now choose. If you would have said, screw it, I'm going to play Westbrook over Harden and then fade Mike Scott at 54% owned, you're done. Like, you're done. Like, that's your decision. That's literally what you would do. You'd go, what would be the best strategy to win this $40 single entry contest of 1,200, 1,300 people? Well, Harden's going to be popular. So how about instead of Harden, I play Westbrook, who's not going to be like under-owned. And then instead of playing Mike Scott, I'm playing someone else. I'm not playing Millsap. I'm not playing Millsap or Scott or something. That I'm playing Horford and who knows, Zeller. You have enough leverage now. I mean, like Mike Scott, 33%, Millsap 32%. You get there's tons of leverage there, but I mean, in the single entry, that's even more. That's way more leverage. So if you just did that, if you just said I'm playing Westbrook instead of Harden, and then Daniel House over Mike Scott, like the other 6 spots in your lineup, just plug in the best players. Just plug in the chalk, whoever. It doesn't matter. Your leverage doesn't matter anymore, right? Because you've gotten enough in the single entry. That's the difference. So for single entry, yes, it's a smaller field, so you don't need as much leverage, but it's easier to get it because the ownership tends to be condensed. Because people tend to play cash type lineups, which is not horrible, but it's easier to exploit. That's what I do. When I play single entry contests, if you take a look at my lineups, a lot of times they're heavily leveraged. They're actually they're probably a little bit more leveraged than they should be, right? I'm much more likely to do that type of thing as I described. I'm much more likely in a $40 single entry contest to fade both Harden and Westbrook. To go, I'm not, or not play Paul. Like, I'm going to fade like 4 of these guys and go down the middle and play a bunch of these guys, right? You look, or play like one person that could be like 2% owned. Maybe I'm the only one with Marquise Chris saying, that I'm just going to play him. And then just play the chalk. The rest is all chalk. I pay down at center or pay middle of the road in center, and then just plug in the best plays at that point. So you only have to find like one leverage point, one major leverage point, and then fill in the rest of your lineup. You're done. You're done. Easy peasy. Does it work out that night? Who knows? But you do it. You do these types of strategies every day, every slate. It's not about what to do today. It's about consistently finding leverage and executing strategies that have positive expected value. And over the course of 180 slates that you'll play this season in NBA, hitting on 1 or 2 of them, right? and staying alive for the other 175 slates. That's really what it is. That is. There's no magic button. If it happens tonight, it happens tonight. I don't know who it's gonna be today. Right? We have an injury report that is like 17 pages long. Who's actually playing today? I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen today. All I know is that I'm going to execute strategies to have the best chance at winning first place in the GPP. And then from there, it's out of my control. Okay, going back into the YouTube chat. Remember, you can always post your questions there. Hit that like button. The little thumbs guy. The thumb. I have a longer thumb than what's on the YouTube page. So like the thumb on the YouTube page is kind of like a guy that kind of has little muscle problems or something in his thumb. Very small thumb in comparison to the hands, I think. Unless because why would you put your thumb this way? Like it looks like fairly little thumb. No, big thumb. Big thumb. Can you go over the Pacers ownership for tonight so far? No. Who knows who's playing? What are we going over? Look at the Pacers. The Pacers, we don't know. Brogdon's doubtful. Okay. Warren's questionable. Oladipo's questionable. We don't know who's playing. The ownership, McDermott's questionable also. Does that matter in May? I don't know. I don't know what's going to. What are we going to know? That's why you get premium, right? Get RotoGrinders premium. RotoGrinders.com/premium. And you'll get the ownership projections. They'll change throughout the day, right? I mean, as of right now, they got updated again. Now I have to run these lineups also. Like, okay, let me run them again. Because look, even before the show, like the projections were updated at 11:28. Before they were updated like 10:40. So now I got to change everything. You get it, right? Like these ownership percentages right here for premium, if you got it, lineup HQ, like they'll change. Like in 2 hours from now, everything will be different. I have no idea. Okay. So no, I can't go over the Pacers ownership. I don't even know who's playing. Obviously, like McConnell's probably still a good play no matter what, right? He's probably going to start McConnell or Holiday, no matter what. I'm with Brogdon out. But for the rest of the team, I have no idea. Okay, 10-game slate. So many people are going to go off. You don't know who's going to go off. The people that you think are going to go off aren't, and the people that you'd had no chance. You go look all the way down and like, oh, Patty Mills did it again. Like you never know. Would you differ your strategy from the $40 mid-range jumper and the $12 pick and roll, both single entry tournaments? No, other than you need more leverage in the $12. The $12 pick and roll is 3,300 entries. The mid-range jumper is what, 1,200? So what? You're going to need a little bit more leverage, a little bit more. So I make another decision like I just did. All it decides the contest determines how much leverage you need. That's it. Small 100-man contest, how much leverage you need. You can pretty much play your cash lineup practically. Let's see. I could show the ownership right now, but the ownership's not going to matter right now. The ownership is, what does it matter? McConnell, got some like we have Warren, because on our projections, we have the questionable players in, right? Doubtful means they're not in the projections. So those things could change. But I just ran 300 optimals, right? Which is just a median, cash game-ish type of lineups, based on our projections. Obviously, with Ayton out, Ayton's doubtful. I mean, he's not. I don't see Ayton playing. Baines is going to be popular, right? We have to assume that. Baines, Saric, Booker, Michael Brute, like all the Suns are going to be popular. You have to figure. I mean, Oubre's out for the season, so his usage is gone. Ayton's usage would be gone. Baines is minimum price, so why wouldn't you play him? So Baines someone has to play center. I mean, who is available for the Suns? I mean, what? They did check Diallo. He's going to play some back. He's going to play 17 minutes. Baines, Saric, because Saric could play the 5 a bit. Maybe not necessarily with Whiteside on the court. But yeah, I mean, the rotation is going to be fairly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-man rotation. And most of these guys are low usage. So, yeah. Booker at 8,400. I mean, with Ayton off the court, like Booker has like a 36% usage rate. So, yeah. So the Suns are going to be popular. I mean, look at the projected ownership. They're going to be popular. If you don't want to play Booker, you can play Rubio instead. But 7,100, I mean, you can. I guess you could do it. But yeah, I would assume Baines at minimum price against Portland is going to be the chalkiest player on the slate. See, Sarge is 4,900. So, like, yes, he's still good. You could still play him, but he's not as much of a slam dunk play as Baines at minimum price. The difference in salary. I mean, like 5,000 to 3,000. I mean, that's almost like half the price. So if people are going to pay down at center, see, this is the way that you should be thinking. Baines is going to be popular, which means he takes up, if he's going to be in 54% of lineups, I'm not saying he will be, but in a lot of lineups, center spot, especially on on FanDuel, I mean, you only have one center spot. But on Draftkings, a center-only player could only fill 2 spots. So if Baines is going to be popular, that means a ton of other centers will be under-owned because they can only fit in either that spot or the utility spot with Baines. So if we take a look at the center position today, like why not, Vooch against Minnesota, Sabonis with no Brogdon and all those guys, if they're out against Chicago, he's power forward eligible, but I'm looking at like even Miles Turner against Chicago at 5,200. Naz Reid, maybe, against Orlando. I mean, I'm not saying the center position looks all that appealing today, right? It doesn't. But if people are going to be paying down at center, I would start looking into where you can maybe pay up. Maybe. Play that type of construction. Anthony Davis. Lakers against the Bucks. You could do that. Why not? Porzingis against the Grizzlies. Is he worth 9,300? I wouldn't want to do that. But you can. Bam against the Pelicans. Bam's going to be 3% owned. He's 8,200. He can put up 60 points, no problem. Right? That's what I'm looking at. You look first at who's going to be chalk, what position, and what price range they're in. And then think in your head, okay, if they're going to be chalk, who's not going to be because of that one player? People are paying down at center. That means higher centers are going to be lower owned than they would be if there wasn't a cheap center available. If there's a cheap look, because we're looking at lineups that are Baines McConnell, right? So, right, I built 300 lineups, right? Optimally. So we see, look, pay up Trey Young, Booker, Ross, Saric, Vucevic, McConnell, Bridges, Baines. See Vooch, Baines lineups. So Vooch is still in 54%. So we see a lot of these types of lineups. Pay up at guard. Trey Young, pay up at guard. Pay up at guard. Pay up at guard, small forward. Caris LeVert is still a pay-up option. So based on our projections, you're jamming in Trey Young against the Wizards more likely as your pay-up option with Vooch in your center spot and Baines in your utility spot. But let's say you didn't want to play Vooch. Let's say you didn't want to play that type of construction. So this is what you should do. I'm going to go into build rules. I'm going to just set it at like 100 just to make it quicker. I'm going to go here. Let's go here. And I'm going to X out Baines. I'm going to X out Saric. I'm going to act like Ayton's in, right? See, X out like Booker, Baines, X out all those guys, all the Suns. So just think in a world where, everyone's fine for the Suns or they're priced up. We don't have to worry about the Suns. And I'm going to build 100 lineups. And you can compare the differences between the constructions. So based on Ayton being out and the Suns being underpriced for the most part, you're jamming in Suns, you're paying up for Vooch, you're paying up for Trey Young, you're playing TJ McConnell for value, you're doing something like that. But let's say in a world where that didn't exist, right? You're still playing a lot of Trey Young and Vooch and McConnell and DeRozan and Zion right? You're still playing Vooch. You're playing McConnell. You're playing more Michael Carter Williams, I guess, right? Like 60, right? That would be the value play of the slate, right? Carter Williams or Dwayne Dedman, something like that. If it weren't for the fact that the Suns were on the slate. So you go, if people are going to play the Suns, maybe I play these guys. Maybe I play Rui Hachimura. Maybe I play DJ Augustine or Michael Carter Williams or something like that. Who knows? But this is what I like looking at. I like, okay, Trey Young is still the best pay-up option, right? We have Trey. I mean, it's Trey Young against the Wizards, right? He rates out extremely well. He has one of the highest smash ratings, right? Other than the excluded players, right? Once I start adding in the Suns, then that changes a bit, right? Bain, Saric, Young. Yeah, we project Young pretty highly today. So yeah, but that's going to be the chalk construction. You don't want to play the chalk construction in a 30,000 entry contest. Where do you get different? That's the question you have to ask. Donnie Watson asks, who do you think benefits the Magic the most with Fournier out? Ross seems like a great play. I don't think Ross starts, though. I don't necessarily think Ross is the one that benefits as much. I mean, he gets some more minutes, but he doesn't start. So that's why I think it benefits more guys like Gordon or Vooch. We'll play 36 minutes. Yeah. Or Fultz. Let's take a look at the Magic. Where's the Magic? Right? We take a look at this. Well, Fournier, I mean, Augustine, the second unit, Ennis. I mean, who would start here? It would be Fultz. Fultz, Gordon, and Vucevic would be there, but I don't see Ross starting. So if Ross is not starting, Ross is 5,700. It's not like he's cheap. So yeah, I guess it could benefit him more, but I mean, Ross is Fournier's price and probably doesn't start. So I think it benefits more the starters more than anything. It's not like Awundu or Clark or any of these other guys are going to do anything. I'd rather take a shot on Augustine or Carter Williams than play Ross, only because of the pricing. Yes, look, we're projecting Ross for 32 minutes, right? Median-wise. But Augustine and Michael Carter Williams are in the low 20s, but they're nearly minimum price. Ross is 5,700. So for 5,700 for a GPP winning score, he's going to need to put up close to 40 points, right? You're going to need like 38 out of him, which I guess he could get there. You're right, he can get there, but why aren't I playing Markelle Fultz instead for 300 cheap? And then, like, why don't I play Augustine or Carter Williams, who only needs to get like 25, right? I don't need as much from a 3,300 or a 3K player. They're both coming off the bench anyway. I would get, like, if Ross was like 4,200, okay. Okay. Now you made your case. Perfectly fine with that. He's 5,700. Just for the price, it doesn't matter. I don't know what he is on FanDuel. Maybe he's a better play there. Maybe he's a better player on Yahoo. But at 5,700, he's Evan Fournier's price. I mean, you're paying for. Yeah, we even get the news right now. Wes Awundu will start for Evan Fournier. What does Awundu do? Nothing. Doesn't do anything. So I just think it benefits Vooch, if anything. Fournier not being in the starting unit. I'd rather he doesn't start. He's better off the bench in the second unit and he closes out games. But he's 5,700. I don't care about if he's going to do well today. He has to do extraordinarily well compared to his price. I'd rather play Michael Bridges with no Ayton. Right? I mean, that's what projections are for. Ross doesn't stand to benefit for his price. It was 4K. It's different. Looking at this, I mean, I'd much rather play so many other guys than play Terrence Ross. I mean, even just in that price range as of now. I mean, I'm just looking through. Like, you can play Malik Beasley for 200 more on the other side of the game. I mean, there's so many other players to play that have secure minutes and usage. You don't have to play Terrence Ross. I mean, you can. Yeah, it's 7% projected ownership. I think that's even a little high. He's fine. But he doesn't stand out. I mean, I'm not jamming. I'm not looking. I wouldn't even be looking really much towards him at all. You'd be, okay, I guess you could play, right? He has hit 6x that price in his last 6 to 7. Okay, what does that matter? Oh, he shot like the lights out. Yeah, 12 for 18. Yeah, you're going to hit that if you go 12 for 18. Yeah, if you go 13 for 25. Yeah, that's going to happen against Minnesota. So, yeah, he gets in the 30s. 7 for 15, 6 for 12. He's shooting well. 3 points. But he doesn't get many. I mean, it really depends on his steal and everything else. How many rebounds, assists, steals he gets. I mean, he gets a lot of steals. He gets a lot of steals, he'll get there. But he's going to go 8 for 10 like the last game from 3-point land? Because last game, he went 12 for 18, 8 for 10 for 3. But he had nothing. He literally had no other, and he got 38 points. So he shot the lights out, and he didn't even hit 40. Terrence Ross could easily show up with a 27-point game today. He's 5,700. We're used to him being 1,500 cheaper, or 1,200 cheaper. Then we could talk about it. I don't know. It just seems like someone that's over regressed. Is that a better way to put it? Over regressed. I wouldn't want to play him if he was popular. But it's a 10-game slate. I guess you could throw him in some way. You throw him in your player pool, see where he fits. I'm nothing against him personally. Just to me, it doesn't stand out. Oh, 48's out. I got to jam in Ross. What? No, I don't have to. Court IQ shows Ross and Fultz benefit the most. It doesn't matter who benefits. Do you understand this, people? It doesn't matter who benefits. Oh, so you're going to play Terrence Ross if he's 12,000 today? Oh, Ross benefits the most. So who cares if he's 12,000? No, you're not going to play him at 12,000. If Aaron Baines today, Aaron Baines benefits the most with 8 and out. Would you play Aaron Baines at 9K today? No. So who cares who benefits? It depends on the price. Someone that doesn't benefit, that's minimum price. You tell me I'm going to today, whoever. Jonas Valanciunas. You tell me he's 4K today, and I'm plugging him in like every line. Yeah, but no one's out, and because he's under price. What does it matter? I don't care. The price matters. That's why it depends on the site. FanDuel, the pricing is different. There are guys that could be way underpriced on FanDuel, and you don't really even play them on Draftkings, and vice versa. Heat Nation asks, so say Ayton is out, which I'm assuming he is. Would fading Baines and Young be enough leverage in your opinion in a 5? Yeah. It'd be fading Baines Baines is going to be in like half the lineups today. So once you fade Baines, you're good. I mean, like you fade Baines and you fade Trey Young, you don't even have to worry about anything else. You're done. Play the best play. Do whatever you want. Right at that point, look how much leverage you're getting. You just have to hope they both bust. Because if they don't bust, you're dead, right? So that's the strategy you're going with, which is fine. Ronald Coley says being price sensitive in the NBA is the number one thing. Being price sensitive in any DFS, right? Patrick Mahomes, if he's $7 million in NFL, you're not going to play him. Doesn't matter. He's the best quarterback. Same thing in NBA. Booker, it's like, oh, Aiden's out. I got to play Booker. But if Booker was like 12K, if he was 11.5, I mean, I'm not playing him for 11.5, even though he benefits because he doesn't benefit enough to pay off that price tag. But 8,400, sure. Trey Young against the Wizards. I'm not playing him because he's playing the Wizards. I'm playing him because he's 9,900 and playing the Wizards. Like if Trey Young was 12K, you'd be like, no. Don't care that he's playing the Wizards. The price matters. That's why you got to look at the pricing. That's the first. I compare everything to the price. Aaron Baines would not be a play if he was efficiently priced today. If Aaron Baines was 5,500, right? He'd be okay, right? He'd still be a play, right? Still going to get played 24 to 28 minutes or something. But at 5K, you can play him. I guess you can, right? Because he'd project to about 5X, 5.2X or something. You'd be like, you can. You can if you want. Donnie says he didn't mean to hijack the show with your Ross talk. No, if you're watching this live and you're in the YouTube chat, you're the priority, okay? The people that watch this later, screw them, right? Unless they're hitting the like button, and maybe they're hitting the like button later. That's the whole point of this show. It's a pregame show. I don't know who to play, right? Yet we have a million injuries. I don't know what's going to happen. You have to make all this assessment 5 hours from now again, right? Because some of this stuff we see this so often. 6 o'clock comes around Eastern time, and I go back to like what I said 7 hours ago and go, okay, most of that didn't matter, right? It's learning how to make the assessment. So stop thinking about, do you play Ross? Do you play Baines? Do you think in terms of, who do I fade for leverage? What positions are they in? What constructions am I making? What contests am I in for these lineups? Those types of things. Because then you can make those types of decisions for yourself 7 hours down the road. And go, oh, well, now that this guy is popular, that means that this guy is going to be underowned and that this position isn't going to be as condensed as it used to. That's what you do. Making those type of assessments. Donnie Watson says, I know it's early, but could you see yourself with a few Giannis AD stacks and what should be a competitive game? I mean, you could do it. It depends on how much value. Just I understand that if you're playing Giannis and AD together, like you're playing Baines, you're playing McConnell, you're playing a DJ Augustine or a Carter Williams. You have to go Scars and Strubs at that point. So if you're playing that type of lineup, you have to realize that you're going to be on all of the chalk value. So if you're comfortable with that, if you think that's contrarian enough, then fine, then do it. But just understand, it's a 10-game slate. I'm not a humongous fan of like having like every chalk value piece be in my lineup. I'm still interested in playing them, but maybe not all of them in the same lineup. Maybe not playing all of these guys together. Playing 2 of them together, sure, okay. That may constrain the types of builds that you can make. So that's what I'm looking at. But who knows? Someone else could sit, this could happen or whatever, and we may have like 5, 6, like 4K, 3K, 4K players that's like, oh, you can build whatever you want now. And then you could kind of mix and match it. Okay. Any other questions in the YouTube chat before I get the hell out of here? Because look at this injury report, okay? This is the situation room. You can get this under premium. And also today's Andy's Core Plays article is free today. So feel free to go and click on his Core Plays. It's primarily for cash games, but he does kind of throw in some tournament pivots. And that's a core piece of a premium. So you get that for free today. Everyone, not just me. Is it up yet? Let's see if it's up. A lot of times Andy's just like, oh, see, free NBA Core Plays. Click on it, right? Andy Means, great NBA cash player. The core. See, he said TJ McConnell, right? It's an actual article. Baines, right? Depending on site, Booker. I mean, his thoughts. It's for free. Comment or whatever. Post your little Topanga gifts because he was talking about that before. But yeah, I mean, it's not much different than what I'm talking about, right? You look at the projections, you go, that seems pretty obvious. Because you can even see in lineup HQ, Andy Meansy, he has his course plays tag, right? You read his article, see his core plays. You got Notorious's cash pool, he hasn't posted yet. GPP pool, the cards, total with salary relief, right? But the core plays is free today. So if you want to check that out, go to rotogrinders.com, NBA section. Click on the core plays. Part of premium is situation room. Basically the DFS injury report with some commentary. And let's see what happens today. Because look at this. We know Brown and Hayward are out. Okay. The Celtics, but they priced the Celtics fairly decently. So You don't have to worry about them that much. Ayton's doubtful. Levine is out. Aldridge is out. Brogdon is doubtful. Luka is questionable. Jackson's out. Oubre's out. Fournier's doubtful. Warren's questionable. Dedmon's probable. DFS is questionable. Oladipo's questionable. Mitchell Robinson's questionable. Hardaway's questionable. Really, the Mavericks. What the hell's going on with the Mavericks is going to make a big difference. Because obviously, if Luka doesn't play, they're only, there's all the usage and whatever. But then, but also, what if DFS doesn't play? If Hardaway doesn't play, there's some subsidiary guys that could get that could be valuable. So I'm just looking through. I mean, even the Pacers, we don't know what's going on. What's going on with Warren and Oladipo? We don't know. So keep your eye out for that. And that's why the projections, they'll change throughout the day. And you can come into our premium Discord and talk about it. RotoGrinders.com/premium. It's like $40 a month, or $39.95, right? Does the nickel matter? Does it really matter? I have no idea. What do you pay the extra nickel or hit the like button? Hit the like button. What does it really matter? My apple juice is still cold, which is great. Right. Roof Melek says Luka, DFS, Mitch Rob, only relevant news at this stage. That's the key words of that. At this stage. We don't know. Someone could sit out of the blue, right? We have no idea what's going to happen. AD just decides not to play. We don't know. We never know what's going to happen. So that's why you got to tune in to Grinders Live, right? 5:20 on the YouTube channel. If you're subscribed, subscribe, watch Grinders Live. It'll have all the updates. And then Crunch Time is a premium show that leads up to lock with Andy Means and JSU and Kevin Roth. We got all the stuff over here at RotoGrinders. So sign up for it. RotoGrinders.com/premium. And Donnie says, I'm ready for vomit stacks. Yeah, I'm ready for baseball. Well, baseball's go on 20 days. We've got 20 days till baseball, people. I'm much ready. See, baseball, this show for baseball is so much easier, right? Like, baseball players play. There's no, sitting for load management and people questionable, probable, and doubtful type of crap. We kind of know. We could pretty much know what the lineup's going to be. We may have maybe a platoon split here or there. It's not like NBA. I mean, it's only March 6th, and it seems like every team, half the team is out. This guy's not going to play. It's ridiculous every day. But that's what we do. That's why you come to RotoGrinders. So tune into Grinders Live. Get your Andy Means Core Plays article for free today, and have a good weekend, because I'll be back on Monday on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.